What's up, everyone? Welcome to Into the Cypher State. It's the first show of 2024. This is the premier public broadcast of Galactica Network. My handler is Citizen42.Gala within the Cypher State. Today I'm joined by my regular co-host Cosmos Hoss. Before we start, it's very important to remember that myself, Hoss, any members of the team, we are not your personal financial advisors, so please don't ask us for any strange advice. We are not able to give it. And now that we've got through a little bit of a disclaimer, how are you doing, Hoss? I hope you've been having a really good start to the year, man.
Yeah, man, doing well. It's what is this, our first space of the year?
This is our first space of the year, man.
Yeah, man. So it's Happy New Year's for everyone in here then.
It's a whole thing. This is our day, you know. Everyone else gets the 1st of January, we get the 17th.
Yeah, no, not a problem there. No, man, 2024 has been off to a great start. I think the market, the enthusiasm, the excitement, the building, the collaborations, just everything, man, it's been pretty good. You know, in fact, I did a space on Monday where I had 20 teams, mainly all different L1s and Cosmos stop by, including Galactica, and like 12 minutes each, pretty much, and went really well, and a lot of excitement, a lot of like good things being built. So, I know this space is about 2024 and what we're gonna predict, but if that's just an indication, I think all signs are pointing upwards. So.
Man, that was an amazing space. I must admit, that must have taken a lot of effort for you to put that on. There were a lot of teams there to coordinate.
Yeah, the coordination for the most part, all of them I have been on conversations. I've been on private calls before, just in general. But a few of them are newer. I did have to start cutting people off, like the list, because 20 at 12 minutes, that's already over 4 hours. And as much as I love this space, that's a long grind, and I was, for the most part, a one-man wrecking crew, and I still want to do some things. Like I want to re-listen to the space, which I haven't yet, and then kind of put timestamps. I did have a schedule out, which I kind of, for the most part, was on schedule with everything. There was a couple little hiccups with some people's connections, but other than that, I'd like to put some timestamps out and put some more content regarding, because I think it's a must listen, and it would be cool for people to be like, oh, you know what, I know this team or that team, and I want to go listen to just that, that segment or whatnot. So you have to listen to 4.5. It was basically 4.5 hours. But even so, I mean, it's definitely worth it in my opinion.
Man, that definitely 100%. And it's definitely the timestamps that will give it that like re-listen value, so people can go to the projects they want to listen to and understand them all. But I think the 12-minute limit, it's a nice sentence, was actually a really cool idea, because it really forces projects to condense down their ideas and make sure that they actually have a use case or something that they can get their primary ideas out there, and people can understand like this distilled version of what they are.
Yeah, exactly. And then it irked me a bit, because I did have a few of the projects. I did have like a lot of follow-up questions that I wanted to ask, but I knew that would take us down a 25-minute rabbit hole, so I just really couldn't do it. But I plan on trying to do like one of those a month, where it won't be 20 teams, but it'll be more of maybe like, okay, this Monday, the first Monday of next month or whatever, it's going to be just an AI segment, or kind of break it down and have maybe 5 teams stop by or so, and give them 20 minutes a piece or something, and it would be kind of cool to do. But yeah, man, it was really good. It was really exciting and aspiring, because there was a lot of good talking points, and the fact that mainly all the teams that stopped by were essentially like the CEOs too of the chain, like the founders and whatnot, which is pretty cool. And yeah, man. So anyhow, let's get it going, because 2024 I think is going to be a great year. I think everything's pointing upwards. So
100%, man, 100%. Okay, guys. So first things first. Speaking of distilled messages, you're listening to Into the Cypher State. This is the premier public broadcast of Galactica Network, and we are the blockchain for real-world links, and we are the blockchain that is the best social layer to ever exist in Web3, as far as I'm concerned. So check out the profile and give us a like and a follow. Jump on Discord and jump on the Cypher State campaign if you want to become a citizen of the very first on-chain nation. Please do it. It's worth it. Okay, everyone. Let's like Poss says, let's get right down into it. Firstly, if you can give us a like and a retweet and a comment on the space, I would love you forever. And secondly, if you would like to jump up on stage and give us some input on voice, we would love it. We don't bite. We have an open stage. You're all welcome to come up and join us and discuss any of the topics we're about to talk about. So, first things first, I want to add a very small section to the show, if you don't mind, Hoss. Basically, what's happening in Web3? We have the news. We have all the regulatory news as normal. But I'd also like to add what's happening in Web3 just to give a bit more flavor and a bit more context for people who are in the space. This is the stuff that people are interacting with every day, the stuff that people care about. And so we'll get straight on. So first things first is Yuga Labs. They are bringing back Dookie Dash. I don't know if you've heard about this one, Hoss, but the ape coin has obviously gone way up. But they're essentially bringing back Dookie Dash, but this time free to play. So like with a lot less restrictions on who can actually play the damn thing, which is interesting. So I don't know if you've seen it. Have you seen anything about this?
No, but I did have a conversation yesterday or earlier today. It was actually this morning where I was talking about gaming and like the standard, even I think even outside of crypto, eventually it's just going to be free to play. Like that's just the model. Like I don't know if it was PUBG and then Fortnite, but the free to play model is just the best model because you there's no fragmentation or restrictions for players for people to play it, but then you just build a game that's really great and then have reasons for people to want to buy things, but at the same notion, the people should be able to play the game without having to spend any money, and that's how you get the complete user base, right? Like that's great for
I
everything.
think that's the main differentiator that people are finally coming around with the whole Web3 gaming thing, is that you can't have a Web3 game. You have to have a game that is accessible.
Yeah,
Otherwise no one
exactly.
will play it.
Exactly, because people's time's so limited as it is, and then like me for an example, like I mess around and play games. Like most of the times, my favorite app that I play is just chess. Like I like to play chess. I know a lot of people that's not up their key or whatever because you do have to think a lot, and it's a lot of thinking. So some people just want to play games where there's really no thinking, which is fine. I probably should do that to shut my brain off from time to time, but I basically I don't know if I've ever spent any money on a game like an app game. Video games I have in the past, but even that though I try not to anymore. It's like, Call of Duty, right? They come out with so many different iterations of Call of Duty, but realistically there's nothing different except for new maps. And like who really cares? The gameplay for the most part is always the same. I can play Call of Duty from a game that's 10 years old and it's practically the same as the new one that comes out. Yes, the maps are a little bit different, but like why is that really worth going and spending like $70 or whatever
No,
after tax? It really isn't, right? It's like,
I think it needs to be a donation of love. That's how I see like microtransactions in games. They need to be a donation of love by people who actually play the game and enjoy the game, who just want to have that little extra piece of experience from the game that they're willing to pay for because they actually like the game.
yeah, exactly, like a collectible or something, or like memento, or maybe you like right now the rave is with everyone, and I just started recently playing it, is that Monopoly game. It's free to play, but you only get so many dice per, like, say, an hour, and then after that you have to wait like another hour to get like essentially more dice, but you can technically buy them if you wanted to, so you didn't have to wait. Like stuff like that, you can randomly incorporate that. If people want to pay $1 to keep playing without any hesitation, then fine. Or they want to buy a piece or whatever, that's cool. But you could still play it and have fun with your friends or whomever and not have to actually spend any money. So like that's just the model it should always be. I mean, you think about it, if Fortnite charged whatever, like $20, 10, $20 to download the game initially, like there's no way that game would have ever became as popular and as big as it has ever. I mean, don't get me wrong, you can spend and spend and spend on that game and acquire skins and all that, but realistically it gives you there's no advantage of doing that. So,
No,
that's just the way I
100%.
look at it. But at the same token, like I played it, I spent years playing that game, and I don't know how much money I spent on the game because I just like collecting the skins and being able to use it, right? Like that's the way the model should be in this space.
Yeah, yeah, 100%. It needs to be, like I say, just these donations of love, and it has to be that way. Okay, so next thing I've got on my list is Nifty Island. You've probably seen this project around a lot. So they've launched their platform, which looks kind of cool. It's interesting, but they are essentially, I guess I could distill it down to Roblox, but with the characters are based on like major NFT IPs. So I don't know if you've had any exposure to Nifty Cosmos Hoss, but like if you have any opinions, please.
No, I've heard of it though.
Nah, it's cool. It's cool. It's like it's nice to see the NFT IPs being used in other products. That's a nice thing. I do like seeing Web3 expand in that way into more like useful into more useful directions or more productive directions, even if they're games. Um, Next, I've got Celestia. So Celestia has been obviously gaining a lot of traction. A lot of people have been playing with that. It looks like it's just about 10x, I guess, since the airdrop. But what I wanted to note on that one was that Vitalik has actually come out today, I think, and he's basically said that you shouldn't be calling that kind of thing an L2. Sorry, you shouldn't be calling it a roll up, but it's more of what he calls a validium. So essentially, the distinction is that unlike rollups that kind of like fully rely on Ethereum for data availability, validiums use like an external data availability layer. So basically, like off-chain ZK proofs or something like that. So I don't know what do you think of an L2? Did you think there should be like an overarching definition of an L2, or I think it's fine to just have like a bunch of different definitions as long as they kind of conform to the basic principle.
Yeah, I mean, I think an L2, I mean, when I always think of an L2, I kind of think of it potentially like an elevator. You get on your elevator and you go up to the second floor, but the first floor, you need to have the foundation on that floor or else you can't have an elevator. And as long as it's not technically an L1, I think pretty much it's an L2. Maybe you build some protocol and you can maybe think of it as like middleware that's kind of like an adapter or connector, and I guess that could be potentially another way to look at it. But yeah, I mean, if you're building infrastructure to essentially improve the foundation of another infrastructure, in my opinion, I guess that I would more so think of that as like an L2 for the most part, in theory. So I didn't hear that. I actually need to look into that. But as for like Celestia, yeah, I mean the price. If you just look at the price, it technically just at 10x. But if you consider, I mean, especially when it first launched, I mean, it's just like most Cosmos chains. It's like highly inflationary. It still technically is. So if you take that into consideration, plus the prices, appreciation, it's definitely more than the 10x. I mean, I haven't ran the numbers. I do know this is not financial advice, but one of the strategies that I always implement is anything that's legitimate or like an L1 or whatnot that launches on osmosis from day one. I've been doing this, practically for the last 3 years. So June of 21 is when osmosis went live. Typically, any L1 that launches on there, if you get in, the price is really extremely early. And I don't know if any of them, for the most part, have ever not basically went up in value. Maybe it takes more than a month or 2 months or 3 months or 4 months or a year. But typically, like I was saying earlier, like Cosmos but essentially is always inflationary. So if you get in a position and then you stake it, your stake and rewards basically cover what you put in the ROI. And then a lot of times, like Celestia, for example, I mean, there's so many airdrops. Like, there's no chance that someone didn't put, you put whatever your initial investment was in Celestia, and you just been staking it, you probably already, without even the price appreciation and the APR rewards, you're going to probably make your money back just on airdrops alone. There's so many quality ones too, especially coming up. Like I think Dimension's a very quality project. I've had conversations with them. Their token moniker is going to be DYM. They're doing an airdrop. There's quite a few other people that are doing airdrops too, like Mantis and a lot of different infrastructure plays that are Ethereum based. So that's the way I
That's an
view.
interesting point, actually, Hoss. I'll ask you one question if you don't mind.
Good.
So, what do you think of the sustainability of that kind of airdrop model?
I mean, I think it's sustainable because, like, if you think about it, right, most companies that start up, regardless of what kind of company they are, whether it's like a soda, whether it's like a clothing brand, whether it's a startup tech, regardless of whatever it is, they typically have some sort of marketing budget that they do commercials or whatever their tea is to like get people awareness. And in crypto, it's like especially Cosmos, and like I honestly think Cosmos invented the airdrops because it's been going on for like 3 years now, but it's been like real prevalent, and a lot of people just kind of starting to find out about Cosmos as a whole, all the different L1s, pretty much like this, like last year. Really, I could kind of triculate that to when Celestia went live, because like that, and then when Objective started to take off, a lot of people started to find out more so about Cosmos. But to answer your question, I think it is sustainable. Now it depends on what kind of model you're going to use within that, and also it obviously helps more so whenever it's the bull market and the market conditions are better. But just like that's anything, right? Like if you're doing a commercial for Pepsi Cola, it's probably to do it better, more so when the economy is doing better than not doing so well. So my personal opinion, I think airdrops are here to stay because I mean it's really hard to think about it. You really can't spend your money on a commercial, right? Like it's still, most people aren't in this space. I do think there will be more marketing for actual like games or music and things of that nature that you could probably use like a traditional Web 2 outlook. But yeah, I think it's kind of here to stay, to be honest with you.
I think you're probably right. The only thing I'll say is that perhaps it's a massively inefficient form of distribution, and I think like the kind of stuff that we'll be able to do on Galactica, the soul drops, is going to be way more efficient as far as like getting these drops to the people who actually put in the effort. And I'm really looking forward to that.
Yeah, I agree. I think we spoke about that briefly on the space on Monday when we're referring to like all the different things that crypto can do besides just be some sort of monetary tool, that you can do things like that, right? It's like who's actually better for your ecosystem or your brand? Someone that's like spending hours per day or a lot of time and effort per month, or someone that just has decent financial wherewithal. They just they invest and then they're just never around. Like they're both important, don't get me wrong, but if you're building a brand and you want to build a community and build a vision, you need more people that are out there working, helping, and collaborating, kind of organic marketing, guerrilla marketing, whatever you want to call it. Those type of people are more important than someone that may have like a couple $100,000 and they're like, hey, here, let me just throw like 25K at Galactica when it first launches. Like, yeah, that person's still important, but like if you're trying to reward people and get your brand out there, it's probably better to placate to someone that's just like, maybe they only do a couple $100 of Galactica when it first launches, but they're like in the chats, they're like retweeting your stuff, they're talking about it, they're enthused. So like that's my personal opinion.
For sure, man. For sure. I think your example there, like the 100K, the 200K guy, the guy who just invests in the seed and then disappears. I think that guy is equaled at least by the guy who spends a year just being active and being a good community member and being someone who like proliferates the real vision of the project and does so publicly. I think they're just as valuable as each other. Yeah. Okay. Well, that's pretty much all like the the beginning of that news section. What's happening in Web3? I'll try and condense it a little bit next time because I realize that there's time limitations on these things, but I like that. I like being able to go through a bit more of the community news rather than just all the regulatory news. I think it's relevant, and I think people like it. So we'll see if we can make that part even better next time. Next, I guess I'll just nip through the regulatory stuff that's come up. Morgan Stanley, they are getting a little worried, I guess. They've put out a notice saying they're warning of a paradigm shift in digital assets. Basically, they're concerned that Bitcoin and, interestingly, CBDCs will be challenging the US dollar's global dominance. So this is mostly just them worrying about the dominance of the dollar, but they seem to be getting more worried about Bitcoin, and they're citing that the approval of Bitcoin's ETFs and their quote high inflows as evidence of this shift. So it's nice to see, I guess, that the ETFs are getting such high inflows that they're getting noticed. Obviously, none of this stuff for anyone who's not aware, ETF inflows are not going to be shown on the chart. This is all OTC shit, so don't worry about the charts or anything. The charts will be the charts, but it's just nice to see the kind of notice that these ETFs are actually getting from the outside world. We've also got the IRS. The IRS has actually stepped back on its crypto tax rules. US businesses are currently not required to report cryptocurrency transactions over $10,000 to the IRS, which is, I'm not sure if that's now or if that's within the revision. But it's nice to see that the IRS are, I guess, just not cracking down quite so hard on the tax rules. Do you know anything about that, Hoss?
Well, I didn't get a chance to look into that yet. I'll look at the tax code, which is, I'm not going to lie, I've been doing taxes for over a decade. It's boring shit. It's a good skill to have, but it is so dry. And if you're wide awake and you're like, man, I had too much caffeine or too much excitement, just go and read some shit about taxes. You'll fall asleep instantly, literally. You'll be so tired, man. I'm telling you, it's like a lullaby. You'll just fall asleep. But in all seriousness, I mean, I kind of know how things work behind the scenes with that, and there's just put it this way, pretty much all governmental agencies are substantially overmanned, and go file a tax return here and have multiple streams of income, like say you have 4 or 5 or 6 different streams of income, whether it's W-2, 1099s, investments, whatever. It will take forever for that tax return to be basically verified if you're going to get a refund or what have you. Now, it all depends on your total income. Now, if it's a lot of money, then it's going to take forever. If you're not making that much and it's not, they're just basically at first just going to take your word. And I'm not telling you to do anything illegal or anything, but that's just kind of the way that works. Just due to just supply and demand, there's just too many moving parts. And then we all know in this space, I mean, it's not hard to do, thousands and thousands of different transactions, right? It's who really gives a shit about those thousands and thousands of transactions? It should be more so, in my opinion, okay, I'm not really necessarily worried about how you got up the mountaintop or how you got down the mountain. It should just be about when you essentially put that
what goes in and what comes out, right?
Yeah. What did you take out of your bank account? Then what did you put in your bank account? Okay, well, what's the difference? There you go. Have a good day. Give Uncle Sam his cut so he can, put some more tanks over in the Middle East for no reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, not exactly that reason, but yeah.
Yeah, seriously though, it's just I know how to do taxes, and when I think about all this stuff, it's just so gray. There's so much grayness to it, and it's just so, and it's not even just crypto, just tax law in general. It's just so over complex. Excuse me, for no reason, when it could just be so simple that but I don't know, I guess it's kind of by design, right? And it's nice though that I guess by default they're just look, we can't handle all this, so we're just going to try to make it more simplistic. And great, I'm all for it. I don't mind paying taxes, but tell me why. And there's been cases, right? I don't want to get off the rails here, but I remember years ago, it was probably about a couple years ago, there was a couple, I want to say in Tennessee or one of the states in America, and they were trying to get taxed on like their staking rewards, and they fought it. They got audited. Then they basically appealed it, which is your right as a taxpayer. You can always appeal any sort of decisions, and they won their case because it was like, well, essentially it's unrealized gains. And if everyone had that same mindset, right, like this is the way I look at things, if everyone was forced to sell something, then the network can never exist because there's no money that stays in the system. So you're forcing the system to break because you're making up some arbitrary rules and like regulations to pay that tax when technically you don't want the money, you just want it to like secure the network, right? And they end up winning that case, which in my opinion was like a great sign because it was just like common sense. Because if your home is worth 100K and then the government prints a bunch of money, and then tomorrow or maybe this time next year it's worth $220,000. However, like the market didn't get any better. It's just more inflation. It'd be like, well, now you can't pay your bill, or you need to pay the taxes at the 250K now because it went up arbitrarily. It's like, well, I don't want to sell my home. Like, I just want to live here, right? So why do I got to keep paying tax on it when I bought it for 100K and I have a 30-year mortgage, So a lot of shit just doesn't make sense. And borderline is criminal. And I think that, I'm just looking forward to a common sense approach. I think
It
that
needs
could
to be
happen.
simplified. It needs to be simplified for sure.
Yeah.
Now, I've just been reminded by a listener who I know and love that we should be talking about Web3 and not specifically Web3 taxes are fun, but Web3 predictions specifically. So much love to that wonderful person who has now joined us on stage. How you doing, Triggs?
Hey, I'm doing pretty good. Good to be here. Glad we're getting back at it. I've missed these awesome spaces and as always, missed the great information from Haas. He's a fountain of knowledge. So it's great to always be able to have access to that.
Oh yes, yes, he is definitely that, a fountain of knowledge.
Even when I'm only on a few hours of sleep, I appreciate it. I feel like I'm delirious right now, but I very much enjoy these spaces for sure. Well, I mean,
I'm
I
glad
guess
to
I was
hear it.
just kind of giving a prediction, right? I think that the tax law in the country, in America, I don't know about other regions of the world, although they're probably already more realistic and simplistic. I do feel like it's going to get more of a green light because Larry Fink, he has so much money under management, and the goal is to get more and more people to want to put a portion of their portfolio or their retirement in crypto. So, just make the damn laws pretty simplistic. It's like, hey, we don't care how you got up the mountain. Just when you get up the mountain and you feel like selling it, then you got to pay tax on it. Well,
It
it's
should
just
have been that simple from the start. It really should. I mean, if they have a regulatory concern or a compliance concern, they should be the burden of proof should be on them. You should
oh yeah.
provide the information at that point.
Absolutely, because like if you think about it, if you go, let's say Galactica's tokens out GNet, and we're like, all right, we're going to go GNet to Osmo and Osmo to this because we want to purchase something. Pretty much no way that you made money through those transactions. You're just trying to go from one currency to the other. You're just trying to go from the United States dollar to the franc or whatever. You're probably losing money if anything. So really, you probably get a tax break because you lost a couple dollars on swap fees or whatever, gas fees. But like, who gives a shit? It's just like, okay, now I sold, and then maybe you buy that token over there and it goes up, it 3x's over the next 4 months, and then you go to sell it, then yeah, pay the tax on the damn thing. But like, there's just too many moving parts, man. Like every day there's block rewards, and some people have epoch rewards. It's like, how the hell do you keep track of all this shit, right? And that's just the way it's going to be. They're just going to make it simple. So that's my prediction. 2024 and going forward, especially if we get a new administration that's less about tax and more about less tax, that'll probably be a good thing. But yeah, that's my prediction about that. But let's go to the next one.
Hell yeah, man.
Well, I'm
Right before
I
we
was
Sorry, Triggs, 2 seconds. Just want to reset the space, guys. If you can just give us a like and a retweet on the space, very much appreciated. Triggs, what you got?
I was just going to throw in a little prediction on that bench novel, because I totally agree with Haas on the simplicity of taxes should be a lot easier. But here's a prediction that throws a kink in it. So what about when we start getting to being able to use cryptocurrencies for direct expenses, right? Where you're skipping the bank altogether. You go to the store, you buy some groceries, and you tap your little whatever key pass thing, just like an NFC chip, like you do with your credit card or debit card, and it just withdraws directly out of some crypto account somewhere. Now all of a sudden, what if it does like 3 different transactions? Like the recipient only receives in USDC, but you've got it in USDT, and it's got to do a couple automatic swaps before it transfers the funds to the recipient.
Oh Jesus! You know what? They actually did that. We did that at the Bitcoin conference in Amsterdam last year. They gave us like basically Bitcoin credit cards, essentially with just NFC chips. Exactly that. I need to go check my taxes. Damn.
Yeah, Triggs, that probably will be kind of like the implementation. If you recall, it took a long time for PayPal and those like third party, places where you can spend money. It took them years to like have what I think it's like $600 or so. I can't remember what the cap gets to, but once you start bringing in transactions of at least $600 plus, then they start to track it. So it would to me it would be more so on the issuer of that card. So if you're saying, hey, you're spending the money from that card, maybe it's a MasterCard or whatever. Maybe MasterCard has some sort of limitations where it's like if they see Cosmos Haas is spending, say over $2,500 or $5,000 total for the year with that card, then they start to report it or so. I mean, I don't know, or it would just be on the honor system, right? It's like, okay, it's on you. There's just not enough manpower for them to dig into it. And like the way they operate is more so about like, is it worth their time, right? They would much rather audit a tax return that someone's making like 500K as opposed to someone that's making 50K. Because even technically, if the person that's doing the 50K isn't being completely honest or truthful, or maybe they messed up on their taxes, it's like, what are they going to gain out of that time that they have to, those resources they have to put into it? Not much. But if you're 500K and you have a business and maybe you messed up on your taxes and you didn't even do it maliciously, but you totally just jacked them up, and it's like, okay, well, maybe that's worth 100, that's worth 75K or 100K over time, so it'll actually be worth like looking into. And that's kind of the way they kind of do that. You can look at the percentages and stuff like that. Again, I'm not telling people to cook the books or anything, but everything's kind of like ROI based. It's like, is it worth our time? And I don't know. It's gonna be odd to see it, because even with banks, right? It's like, if you kept sending me money like $100 every single day, $200 in my bank, like, is anyone really going to know that? But like that starts to add up over time. If you every single day, if you sent me $400 a day, like, I mean, technically I'm supposed to report that, but like if I didn't, like, is anyone going to know, right? So it's like it's kind of the same premise, in my opinion. It's gonna be difficult. But even that though, it's like not every dollar is technically, because that money usually has already been taxed too. So it's like, your
That's
brother sends you money. Should you always have to pay
Yeah,
tax on
that's
it? It's like,
exactly where the rub comes in with paying with cryptos, because when you're paying with cash, it's usually already taxed, and so transactions aren't necessarily relevant. But if you're doing the money in, money out system for accounting for your tax bill for crypto, but then inside that money in, money out, you're also paying for services, even if it's just like Web3 services, right? Like if you're able, like if you use DVPN, for example, and so it's a VPN service that you're paying for with crypto tokens. Now all of a sudden those are disappearing from your money in, money out equation without being accounted for on your taxes. So I don't know, that's part of my prediction, I guess, for 2024 is that we're going to see a lot more ability to spend crypto on things. There's going to be ways that you can
yeah.
spend your crypto within the Web3 and outside of the Web3 ecosystem. And that's going to just add fuel to the fire of the complexity of tracking your expenses and tax bills and all those kinds of things.
Yeah, if you remember, it was starting to get like that, and then everyone got shook. Like I used to have a card. It was like a I forget what exchange it was. Not Crypto.com. Crypto.com has had one for like ever,
I
but it
had
was
like a
like
Binance one, a
it
crypto
was an
one.
Uphold
There's one
one.
for every exchange, I think.
Yeah, and then they stopped doing it. Like I randomly got a message one day. It was like they're not doing it for America and like another country. Like out of nowhere, they just stopped doing it. And but yeah, I think I completely agree with Triggs. Like I think that'll be the way because the so or what was it? Visa, partnered up with Solana. So like these, we'd all be remiss to think that MasterCard and Visa, they don't went in on the action because they know how much better it is and quicker and more efficient it is. Now they're probably going to get a little bit of pressure somehow to like make sure they report it more or so. I mean, that's kind of my thought process about it, which, I mean, I don't care, whatever. Just make the shit easy for people. They don't need to have a PhD and another PhD just to like file their personal income tax returns.
Yeah, I don't think it's going to happen for 2024. This is a longer term prediction, so we don't have to keep belaboring this point because it's obviously a hot topic. But I think that's one of the beauties of a public distributed ledger is that it's going to make accounting so much easier in the future once the ecosystem matures to the point where we can actually use this public ledger in a meaningful way. I mean, it kind of goes back to the whole airdrop conversation from before, right? Like the idea of building on-chain identity and reputation for transactions that are on this public ledger that we all have access to. And data analytics isn't really something that we have a lot of accessibility to right now, but the potential is massive. And so as the airdrops start to take better use of the information that's out there and users start developing this like concept of sovereign identity, that data is going to be extremely useful for making airdrops way more efficient and more targeted. And experimentation is going to go crazy once we start having a proper mindset around this data that is being recorded on these public ledgers. And I mean, the IRS has got to love the idea of the entire economy moving to blockchain, because if every single transaction that every single person makes is recorded on a public ledger, then all of a sudden it enables these like super, I mean, to some extent maybe invasive, but very accurate and very dynamic tax reporting potentials. I mean, you could eventually have chains that are like, this is the IRS, this chain is approved by the IRS. All transactions that happen on this chain automatically pay your taxes for you. So you don't have to even think about it. At the end of the year, your taxes are done because you just paid them automatically using the ledger.
Yeah, I could see that. Kind of like when you go to like I remember back in the day when you would win at a casino, like this is years ago. Like you wouldn't even get any sort of paperwork back in the day. And now if you go and you hit the casino, like they're taking the taxes out right away. And then you could opt in to take out your like some states have state tax. You could have them take out your state tax and whatnot. So yeah, when you go to file your taxes, it's like, oh yeah, I already paid this, or you guys actually owe me money back because after that day, I end up losing or whatever. I could see that. I definitely could
And I
see
can
that.
see it being like privacy preserving too, from the sense of like zero knowledge, right? Like you could have zero knowledge proofs for managing your taxes where you don't have to share all of your personal information, but the IRS can know like, hey, did you make X amount of dollars or did you pay for X amount of dollars? And you can still retain, privacy of your individual transactions and also report your taxes appropriately. I think that'll be, super exciting, but that's way down the road. We're not anywhere near
Well,
that.
yeah, I mean, we technically there's chains that have the tech to do that. Like Secret Network has had the tech to do that for 3 years now. It's just programmable with privacy where you can use it, and the records are all recorded, but it's a private ledger that you get a private key to, and then you can release your records when you want to. And like they can implement that, different chains. And I had a couple teams that stopped by. There was a chain called Fairblock. They came up and did 12 minutes on Monday. They were talking about doing some features that like what you're referring to, and then there was another team too, because that's definitely the way it's going to be. Like it's unsafe, it's dangerous, it's predatory. That technically every transaction is in the open public right now, so you could just be like, oh yeah, I know his address. Let me throw it in the scanner here and see what the hell he's done or she's done since they got into the space. And it's just like, it's no one's business, man. Like, even if I wanted to send you $400 right now, like, it's no one's business. It's not anyone's, it's no one's business. So it's like, the only way that space will move forward is to have tolling like that, because it's not that you're trying to hide anything. It just makes no sense. Like, we go to a ball game and I spend money. Why does that merchant get my wallet address and be like, oh yeah, like that dude that just bought that hot dog, man, he's worth like this much money. Like, let's go harass his ass. You know what I mean? Like, that's no one's business. It's just dangerous and it's not sustainable. And you won't get, you won't get real big money to come in and like partake in these systems until there's some sort of layer of privacy in there. So like, my prediction is, for that, I would say probably the latter part of this upcoming year, if not within. I can't see more than like a couple years for like there to be so many different solutions for privacy that kind of like mask that, so to speak.
I love how both your predictions both tie into all of our use cases. I love it. It's very helpful. So everybody, this is just so you're aware, you are listening to Into the Cipher State. This is the premier public blockchain, and something else as well. That was entirely my voice going rather than a technical mistake. So this is the premier public broadcast of Galactica Network. We'd very much appreciate it if you could give us a like and a retweet on the space. If you could give us a comment if you would like to partake in the conversation. You can also jump up on stage with us if you wish. We are, in fact, basically the blockchain that solves an awful lot of what's just been discussed. We're a Sybil-resistant layer 1. We have meaningful, persistent identities, but you have your privacy at the same time through zero-knowledge proofs. So essentially, we actually, if you think about it like this, we have the monetary institution of Web3 with Bitcoin. We have the computer of Web3 with Ethereum and other like layer 1s. And with Galactica, we have the social layer. So we have people, we have the human layer of Web3. In addition to that, we also have real world on and off ramps, which also maintain your privacy. Now, if you don't understand exactly what that might enable on chain, then I can tell you it's things like on the financial side, it's under collateralized loans, it's reputation enhanced DeFi, it's institutional DeFi on the private compliance side, and for people, just for people, you can actually form communities, just like we've been talking about with soul drops, and basically instead of using finance as a gate, you can use reputation as a gate. That enhances everything from DAOs and governance to airdrops. So it's absolutely massive. We are attempting to solve the social side of blockchain. If you wish to get involved, just follow us on the Galactica profile and make sure you join the Discord. You can join us by either going on the Cipher State campaign, which is all of this is available through Discord. You can jump on the Cipher State campaign and earn yourself a citizenship. You can join the referral program. You can get people into the Discord. And if they get onto like the first rank of Discord, then you will get an X amount of GNet tokens. Or you can join the Sentinels program if you think you have a bit more time that you want to contribute and you want to get some more rewards and earn the highest tier of citizenship. That is the only way you're going to get the highest tier of citizenship right now, is by joining the Sentinel program and doing well and doing a lot of work. So there you are. That is Galactica in a very, very small nutshell. Love to get back to the conversation. So I don't want to hear the word tax anymore, just because it's a bit depressing for me right now looking at my taxes. You guys have got me to look at my bookie, and it's not good. So what we're going to do is we're going to go to the question again, but we're not allowed to mention the word tax. So Triggs, what are you looking forward to most in Web3 for 2024? Hit me.
Oh man, what am I looking forward to most? I feel like I bang this drum a lot, but for me it always comes back to sovereign identity. Like this last year, I spent so much time researching sovereign identity and on-chain reputation, and what I found was that there's a ton of people building for it, and none of them have arrived. Like the space is very immature. The use cases are just slowly starting to develop. And I think it's super exciting to see, like you were saying, instead of having finance-based gating, having reputation-based gating. And I mean, it goes like to the airdrop thing and stuff as well. And I think it's going to be such a huge unlock for Web3 to show people how having this like distributed ledger of private transactional information and engagement information that you own. I mean the evolution of social media during our lifetime has been such a wild ride to watch and to participate in, and to see this like rise, and what I see is kind of like this looming potential fall of traditional social media, because the users have no control over their information and their data and their identity. And so watching companies like Meta or Facebook or whatever be able to just harvest all of that information and utilize it to create a really powerful AI that they're probably going to make a ton, just like a metric ton of money off of. This, these new AI models are changing the way that we interact with each other and with life and our work and fun and everything. And so as these AI models continue to become more and more powerful and more integrated into the daily aspects of our lives, people are going to really start to feel that like loss of their own data because they don't own it. Whereas these decentralized models of AI that are being developed, they're not going to be able to help the individual unless we develop these systems for sovereign identity. And so once we start seeing this, all these pieces fall into place and come together to create this cohesive whole that is, a distributed ledger of private information that people have sovereign control over, and decentralized AI models are trained off of. And now all of a sudden there's this like recursive cycle where the users actually have control over their lives and their information, and then also stand to benefit from the economic activity that is generated from it. I mean, just being able to like choose how your activity and engagement stuff is used for targeting things, instead of using Google Ads and having targeted advertising that's constantly just like shilling you because some algorithm decided that you're vulnerable to this type of advertising. Now you're in the driver's seat and you get to control what you share. And so a company can say, hey, we're giving out an airdrop to everybody who's done X, Y, and Z things. If you have this information or this activity in your private ledger, you get access to the airdrop. And now all of a sudden, all you have to do is a ZK handshake with the airdrop system that proves that you did or have these things, and you get the reward and you get to participate on your terms, and you don't lose control of your data. That's what I mean. I went on a long spiel on that, but essentially the most exciting thing that I'm looking forward to is seeing the next evolution of on-chain reputation and sovereign identity.
Honestly, you could have gone on longer, and I would have listened, man. It's a beautiful thing when someone when you like vibe with someone like that. I mean, this is pretty much almost exactly the same reason why I decided to work on Galactica. It's just like ownership of your data. Everyone in the listener panel, ownership of your data is going to be the key differentiator between someone who is a self-sovereign individual and someone who is simply controlled in the next decade. It's that simple. You have very few options right now in this realm, as Trig said. These protocols are only just being developed. I feel like we're ahead of the game. We started building 2 years ago. There are several options. Don't get me wrong. So if you have any interest in maintaining your sovereignty, maintaining your autonomy in the next decade of quantum-powered AIs and even quantum-powered artificial identities, which are inevitable at some point. And you want to be competitive, you need to be able to prove your humanity, prove yourself, be able to control who you are. So just take that on board. Hoss, mate, same question, I guess, like without mentioning tax. What are you looking forward to most in Web3, man, in 2024?
I mean, basically that you can, if you go out of your way right now and you know what you're doing, but essentially you can have every single piece of your life essentially on blockchain now. And there's different applications and tooling out there all throughout Cosmos that can make that happen, where it's completely decentralized. The network can't get your information. There's so many different things like Jackal Protocol, like shout out to them. Like the way that they have data storage solutions, it's like a decentralized Dropbox. It's way better than any other solution that's out there right now. And you basically can have every single piece of data ever in existence on there. Every single piece of data gets its own private key file that you can, even if you wanted to give permissions on certain data, you could and not. And it's really cool what they've done. Dissenters, like my favorite browser, and they don't steal your data. They don't sell your data. There's Tempe that's coming out, which is going to be an amazing search engine, but it's not just a search engine. They're the sixth player ever to build their own indexers, so all the data will be unbiased, and you could build models with it. You could sell your data if you want. You can have a landing page where you create like this environment that you can share with people. Advertisers can pay you for your landing page and have like there's just going to be so many more rights, and it's kind of, coincides with what Triggs was saying, but there's a lot of things out there that you can build this like experience, and all your data is safe and secure. And then you can also, prosper off of it. It's like, hey, this person, this does this. They have, like, for me, we'll just throw me out there. If someone was like, all right, yeah, I kind of like what this guy's doing or he's talking about, well, I can have like this environment where I can essentially sell access to my data if I wanted to, or I can, get advertisements that goes towards people that kind of think like I think or feel like I feel or whatever. So like that's pretty cool because, yeah, I mean, full disclosure, like before, I think July of 2021, I never had social media. Well, I can't say never. I did have Facebook, but I never used it. The last time I really used it before that is when it was the Facebook. Because the university I went to was one of the first like 5 or 6 different universities that could use it back in the day when it was only for collegiate kids, and it was New England schools and Stanford. Which was real simple and all that. But yeah, as it got more and more predatory, like I didn't want to use like social media and stuff. And so yeah, it's kind of discouraging that it's kind of just like the way of things, but it's great that crypto and projects and thought leaders are building out all this tooling to, pretty much eliminate all that nonsense garbage. And which is great. I think it honestly moves humanity forward because the data is there, but it's just been used in such a nefarious / criminal / predatory way. And maybe there has been some good out of it, but more so bad out of it. And so like, yeah, I'm looking forward to just essentially every product or thing that you like to do currently, whether that's in this space or not, will be in this space. And yeah, that's what I'm looking forward to.
Well said, Hoss. Well said. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. Like I kind of said when I was talking about what Galactica is, I think we're getting there. We've built the monetary institution. With Bitcoin, we've built the computer with Ethereum. So we just need those social elements, those the ability to actually own ourselves in essence, as well as our assets. And then we have the ability to get pretty much everything on chain. We have the ability to have a full parallel society on chain, and that's pretty much what we're going for. We're hoping like a lot of self-sovereign individuals will want to be just themselves on chain. We just want to be able to provide the infrastructure for those individuals to organize as they would in any other society if they wish to. So yeah, I think that's you pretty much hit the nail on the head, Oz.
Yeah, man. All good shit, man. It's good stuff.
Right then, everyone. I think what we're going to do, we're coming up on the hour. So I'd just like to remind everyone, if you could give us a like and a retweet on the space, that would be absolutely amazing. I'd also like to remind you that you could give us a comment, or if you wish to jump up on stage, you're more than welcome. So I'm going to ask another couple of questions for Hoss and Triggs, because I absolutely love these guys. They always have they're just fountains of knowledge that just don't give up, and I love it. But if you wish to come up and speak as well, just request to speak. I'm sure we'll have you up as long as you're not a bot. So guys, we will again. I think we'll start with Triggs. So, what is your bull case or bear case for Web3 in 2024? Different question, very much different kind of context, but I thought it would be interesting.
Yeah, I guess I have a bull bear case for Web3 this year, and that's seeing institutional adoption of Web3. We kind of mentioned it a bit before with the ETFs and stuff, but it's super exciting to see all of these mainstream institutions starting to step up to the plate and legitimize Web3 and crypto and everything involved in it. So there's an air of bullishness around that, right? Like this is going to make number go up. Like things are going to go well, because if BlackRock is on board, like it can't be all bad, right? And
I get absolutely damn terrified when everyone says the same thing in Web3. I really do. I can't help myself.
Yeah, right. Me too. So that's my bull bear case. So the bear side of that is like all of that institutional adoption stuff that's happening is the exact opposite reason why we're building Web3 and why crypto exists. And so them getting on board is it's like a turning point in my mind. I've since I've gotten involved in this space, I've always said that the reason why I'm here is because this is a war, and this is a war that's been going on since the dawn of time, of the haves versus the have-nots, like power versus the powerless. And society constantly keeps pushing for more like equal distribution of power, and we've seen that over the course of history. And every like evolution of society moves towards better distribution of power. And so Web3 and crypto is this like massive technological unlock that enables this unlimited distribution of power, right? We have the ability to create a completely egalitarian environment with fair distribution of power across the board, if we can only like wrap our heads around the concept of how and create the protocols and the definitions. And that's why we're testing all these things. Like the airdrop stuff is a huge test bed of how do you distribute power equally among a group of people. And building on-chain reputation is going to fuel that fire of informing proper distribution of power and defining what that even looks like, because it's not like everybody gets one. If everyone has one, that's equal distribution of power. Well, that's not really fair, because some people give more than others. Some people have more knowledge in specific areas. You got to figure out how to like differentiate all this kind of stuff. It's not black and white. It's very gray. And so long story short on all that, with crypto and Web3 enabling this like infinite distribution of power, the institutions coming in, this is where the war is, because the institutions want to come in and they want to grab as much power as they possibly can, just like they have in every other economic marketplace across the world since the dawn of time. They're not going to just like bend over and be like, oh well, I guess we lost and now everybody's gonna have equal access to everything. The haves are still fighting to make sure they stay the haves. And we've created this whole new kind of like world of crypto Web3 haves that were born into this ecosystem early enough on that now they've become the haves and they're in power. But to get back to the bear bull case, it's like super exciting to see all this institutional adoption and like the mainstreaming of crypto. But it's also terrifying because like we've got to really make sure that the growth that is happening and the expansion that we're building into is improving the distribution of power and not just reverting back to the same distribution of power that there was before.
Well said again, Trix. Well said. I think one of the examples that comes to mind in that is things like China's social credit score system, that kind of thing, and the differences between what they do as a centralized government, who don't have the citizens. Well, they might have the citizens at close to their heart. We don't know. It doesn't look so. It doesn't look so from the outside, and looks like there's the citizens don't have too much of a choice. The whole point of crypto is choice and freedom. That's end of done. That's that in my opinion. That's the point of crypto. So as we're building out these new social institutions, this new social side of crypto, having people on chain rather than just unknowables, it's very important that we allow people to galvanize and then organize themselves around social institutions that make sense to them and serve them. So I think that's absolutely hugely important, allowing people that freedom to live under the rules that make sense and serve them. Yeah, absolutely. Hoss, I guess same question. So what is your bull case or bear case or both for Web3 in 2024, mate?
I mean, I don't know. Did I hear you, Ron? Did you say 2023 or 2024? I think you said 2023. Maybe I'm hearing things. But no,
I said 2024. So
okay, great.
For next year.
I'm hearing things then. Okay. So essentially I see like the bullish case and then like just a bull case. Like I don't really see, and I just don't, because there's so many different factors at play. Whether you're an American or not, like the world economy for the most part is ran by United States dollar, and maybe that doesn't happen forever, but for now it is what it is, and it just goes in cycles with the United States debt cycle. They have balance sheets. They make decisions. Do they want to bring on more debt, which is when they turn the money printers on? Do they lower or do they lower interest rates? Do they higher interest rates? Do they keep them the same? Even all these different scenarios, like there's nowhere really to go put new money, and like there's only a few different asset classes that are like higher risk, high reward, and that's where a lot of big money goes. They want those really crazy returns. They don't want the little small, small things. And I just believe that, besides like artificial intelligence, which there's artificial intelligence blockchains as well, like AI, tech, and crypto and energy for the most part is pretty much where most of the money is going to go. Yeah, it does get scary when everyone's saying the same thing, but we just had a really big bear market, right? And if you study the cycles, the Bitcoin halving runs in parallel to the United States, the U.S. debt cycle, and you follow that. And I'm not some like Bitcoin maxi, but just use that as a standpoint and study the trajectory of all the the investments from that standpoint. We're kind of right there, and you can see maybe we go sideways for a month or two, but even this like over this last year, anytime there was like a dip, like any dip, it didn't matter what kind of FUD or just whatever dip there was, it got eaten up really quick. Like it wasn't, I don't even know in 2023 from like, I don't know, halfway through the year till the end of the year, was there honestly like 1 week where the market was red for the entire week? I don't know, maybe, but I don't recall it, especially not in Cosmos. And I just think that that was with money that's not even with new faces for the most part, new users. Imagine when prices do get up for the main assets where everyone's keeping an eye on, or people that aren't in the space, and Ethereum or Bitcoin's like up towards all-time highs. You're just going to get everyone in here. Like, just, I mean, I hate to say, you're just going to get a lot of idiots in here. They're just going to be buying, when Bitcoin maybe it hits 100K and people start getting in. So like I just see a complete bull case the entire year, for the most part probably all of 25. And I just don't think there's any way of stopping it. Like I just see like maybe not as bullish if it's like World War III, but even under that scenario, like money is going into the markets, and
I think if World War III happened, you'd want a decentralized monetary and social system. Funnily enough,
that's what I'm saying. Like even under like crazy ass scenarios where like shit really hits the fan, like the only scenario that really wouldn't have this market going up, in my opinion, would be like if a bunch of asteroids or like satellites came down and we didn't have the internet or something. And then really, who cares? It's like guns and ammo and whatever else would be valuable and stuff like that. But I mean, I'm just trying to think about it. Like, I just don't really see. I try to play devil's advocate and like look at all these different scenarios, but where's the money going? And it's the United States. It's the presidential election cycle, so that's working in their favor too. Because
Of course.
no one, even if the president or someone running for president didn't want crypto, they're not going to want to say it openly. You know what I mean? They want to make everyone their friends. So I just don't see a way.
No doubt, man. I'm just conscious of the fact that we have a new speaker on the panel. He is from the metaverse, and apparently he's a very good vibe creator. Ape Goat, how you doing, man?
Hey, man, how's it going? It is definitely the first time I've been in this spaces. Hi, I'm Ape Goat. Everyone, how's it going?
It's going good, man. It's a good vibe here as well.
Yeah, definitely. I like to just jump in between different spaces, find out how everyone's going, find out real world kind of vibes, and see what's going on. Yeah, I think you're pretty much talking about real kind of stuff that's happening. It's difficult to kind of separate speculation with things that may or may not happen. But yeah, I'm here to vibe you. I'm always a good vibe guy, and that's why I'm here. Hi.
We're glad to have you, Ape Goat. We're glad to have you, dude.
Good vibes, man. Good vibes. That's what it's all about.
I'll tell you what, man. We're going to throw the question to you, Ape. If you don't mind answering a question, is that cool?
Yeah, shoot. But in the middle of it, I'm gonna move from my AirPods to just doing it through my phone. Because I'm just about to run out of battery.
Man, whatever you want.
Yeah, shoot. But I'm definitely here. Definitely here.
Okay, cool, dude. Okay, so just while we wait for Ape to change over his headphones, guys, you are listening to Into the Cypher State. This is the premier public broadcast of Galactica Network. If you'd like to find out what we do, double click. That's such an old thing. That's a Windows thing. Just click on the Galactica.com profile up there. Give us a follow. Jump on Discord. Join our Cypher State campaign if you want a citizenship. Apply for the Sentinels program if you feel like you have some time and you want to devote some time to Galactica, helping us out with your skills, with whatever you have. Really, it really doesn't matter as long as it adds value. If you join the Sentinels program, you have the opportunity to earn the highest tier. Well, not the highest tier. The tiers don't really make much sense, but you just get earlier access to citizenship, and that's got some value to it. So if you want to do that, do so. Check out the profile. Check out the Discord. Ape, have you got your headphone situation in place?
2 little minutes, please, if that's okay.
Of course. So, guys, we are the blockchain for essentially real-world links. And we are the blockchain that is the social layer for Web3, in addition to Bitcoin's monetary institutions and Ethereum's computer. So if you want to do real stuff, like actual like reputational transactions rather than just financial ones, that's what we're aiming for right now. That's what we're aiming to solve. So again, if you have any interest in maybe trying out what we've already built, we're currently in DevNet. You can join up the DevNet program by clicking on the Voyager Arc button on the website. You can currently test out the ZK KYC framework. So that means that you can basically leverage your off-chain trust in the form of like your KYC, but you basically hold your data yourself. So it's in self-sovereign custody. You never have your data on-chain at any point. What you do is you prove aspects of your data on-chain with zero-knowledge proofs, and you maintain your privacy throughout the entire process. Even the KYC provider has no idea what your blockchain address is. So the goal is to make sure that we maintain your privacy on-chain at all times, but make sure that you are able to take part in these reputation-based transactions rather than financial ones. It opens up an entirely new world of Web3. It really does. So yeah, please give us a follow if you have any interest in that. Also, give us a like and a retweet on the space. we'd be absolutely thrilled if you could support us in that way. And join us on any future spaces that we have. Generally speaking, they'll be on a Wednesday from now on at the same time at 9 o'clock UTC. Okay, guys. So hopefully, Ape, maybe you have your...
I am back. I'm in manual speakers. There is cables going to my ears. Not the AirPod things.
Oh my God, we've gone analog.
Oh my God. Yeah, it's shocking. The sound quality is actually quite different, believe it or not. But yeah, I'm here.
You sound good, man. You sound good. You sound good. It's all right.
Yeah.
Okay, mate. Well, I'll ask you the question that I started off with Hoss and Triggs. They've already answered, so I'd love to get your perspective. What are you looking forward to most in Web3 for 2024?
In Web3?
Yeah. In general, just what's the maybe the biggest thing or something that you are like maybe a technological paradigm or a project or anything really that you can think of within Web3 that you are looking forward to most?
I've pretty much seen it all, and I've seen the progression. My biggest kind of like not kind of monetary move, but technologically move is gonna be and Yuga kind of showed it pretty recently, and everyone was flooding them, which was like 10,000 people, all of their individual assets being able to stand together. Like, that was pretty immense, like to actually have them even standing there. But my big kind of vibe is just to make sure that we can all work together together in just one kind of virtual Web3 alignment.
I couldn't agree more, mate. I genuinely couldn't agree more. I think. Go on then.
Sorry, I'm not talking about like club or games or anything like that, but anyone that's been here as long as I have, and I think a couple of you have, because I definitely recognize you. It's basically the ability to do what we have done, which is build massive communities and friendships, but just on like a Web3 level, which is you take your avatar into a certain space and you then meet that person. It's not necessarily about a game. It's not necessarily about a challenge. I wouldn't mind just coming home from work and meeting all my friends, not necessarily from Bored Ape Yacht Club, but all the other people, all the other projects that I'm involved in. I would just actually quite like to just fucking, excuse my language again, walk in and just go, all right, man, how's it going? How's your day been? But in a virtual sense, like, even if it's not wearing VR goggles, like just coming in on the next level and saying, all right, how's it going? And then your friend's standing there, but he also has another friend from another project, and then they're bringing in this friend, and it's all honeycomb of just people who really want to be there. Playing Dookie Dash is cool. Yeah, that's great. But again, Bored Ape Yacht Club, like, you want to have an IRL clubhouse. Yeah, that's fine. But what happens if you stay in fucking Scotland? You know what I mean?
I get you, man. I really do. Like, I think what you're talking about is kind of the same thesis that I have for sovereign communities. right? It's just, instead of just having a bunch of people who are essentially put together by an algorithm, you have this like organization of self-sovereign individuals, of all these self-sovereign individuals who have a massive like growth mindset, who are all who are all there for reasons of freedom and sovereignty and autonomy, and all that wonderful Web3 stuff,
but
all coming together.
It has to happen. It has to happen at some point. And well, really, that's why I made my club. I'm not going to shell it. I'm not going to say the name of it. But that is the
No, tell us, man. What's the club name?
It's Kurabu, Sun Sol, and it is going to be the Sol Club. Like it not. I am friends with. This is going to sound really big-headed, but I am friends with all the people who have just pushed a dog token, dog project. I'm friends with other person that's pushing another pixelated project.
Oh, we all love dog projects, man.
Fucking brilliant. But no, we are just genuine. We're pushing a project because we like the original fact that fucking NFTs were just about a community that could work together. That is basically why we did it. I'm just lucky enough to have an artist that I met before COVID. I think Cosmos got his hand up. Sorry.
Don't have to say sorry, man. He just wants to say something. Go on, Oz.
No, you're good, man. I just took a screenshot. My phone's at 1%, and I need to hop because I got a call that is about to start here in about 10 minutes. So I think I throw my phone on the charger. It's at 1% right now. Oh man.
Oh, dude. Okay, guys, make sure you follow Hoss. All right, Hoss is an absolute legend. He co-hosts these spaces with me all the time. He's here every Wednesday with me. So just make sure you follow his account and follow what he does. He's an absolute genius and a madman and a good guy, and a good guy.
Yeah, man, I appreciate the nice words. I appreciate everyone. This is our first space in 2024.
Love you, man.
I'm looking forward to each week, and everyone, I hope all is well. If you need anything, just reach out. But everyone, take care. Enjoy the rest of the space. I'll talk to you guys soon.
Just us. Have a good one, man.
Cheers.
All right, guys.
I cannot believe the second night in a row I am in space with a fucking excuse my language, English person.
Oh, we exist. Like the English Web3 contingent does exist. It's just we're a rarefied sort.
Yeah, you really didn't need to like wisp your things, but yeah, no, that's cool.
Whenever anyone mentions like being English, I have to go full English. You understand? I have to do the whole sultry thing and the dry humor,
definitely.
all of it.
And oh my goodness, yeah, I get it, and it was actually really good to listen to Triggs because I've heard Triggs on another space, and he's always full of wisdom. Genuinely has quite a lot of knowledge in the space. Like I've been here since 17, maybe. You know, it was definitely before Pudgy Penguins, and then I bought my first Bored Ape at 0.008.
I remember that. That was when Journey was shelling it all, right?
That was when I just should have stopped talking on Twitter and just fucking keep that particular asset and just keep it. That's what I should have done.
When do we ever hold? That's the trick of it, isn't it?
Yeah, if only we had perfect knowledge of the way the future would go. But I really love, and thanks for the kind words, by the way, Apecoat. But I love what you're talking about in terms of community and just like tying it into a prediction of 2024. You know, I love the power of Web3 communities because I think there's a couple of components to it that make Web3 communities so powerful. One of them being what you were mentioning about the sovereignty and the ownership, and like having that skin in the game and having that control over your experience, where you can be just an avatar if you want. I mean, like social communities, global social communities have existed before Web3. The internet kind of enabled this whole I've been involved in global communities ever since I was a teenager, and that was a long time ago. But the Web3 communities are different because we have a little bit more agency around it, and the way that we engage with that community is kind of in our control. And you could hide behind an avatar, previously on the internet, but that created a certain amount of limitations in the ways that you can engage to maintain that anonymity. And so having the future potential of pseudo-anonymous Web3 identities, where you have the ability to share a little bit more of yourself and get engaged with the community a little bit deeper, and still maintain your own privacy and your own security around your data. Like, that's such a huge, powerful thing. I think that's really going to drive people into these Web3 communities. But then also there's the other side of it, where your engagement with that community and that ownership of your participation actually enables you to benefit from anything that community does together. If you are a community that's supporting like an artist or something, I've seen so many awesome ways that artists have been integrating their communities through Web3 tools, so that the community that's supporting the artist is actually engaged with that artist in a way that wasn't possible without Web3 technology. And so seeing people being drawn to these Web3 enabled communities really showcases the power of sovereign data and identity, I think.
It's those direct peer-to-peer connections, right? It's absolutely beautiful.
Triggs, can I ask you a question?
Yeah, sure, man, go.
How do you feel about in particular, like NFT projects that are pushed by names in the society rather than community pushed? I suppose that's my whole.
I don't know. You mean specifically like a celebrity-driven NFT project versus like a decentralized NFT project?
Yeah, I mean, like, there's been quite a lot of really high profile people pushing NFTs, and obviously throughout the kind of advancement of NFTs, there's been different people with large names pushing a project. How how do you feel about that? Like, how can the smaller person, and by the way, I'm not talking about a friend, I'm talking about me. How do you feel that the smaller person who has made connections with an amazing artist, how can they do it?
Yeah, I think that I think it's going to be a reflection of the maturity of the space and the tooling and the community, the community tools that are being made for these kinds of activities. I think it's going to enable better communication between people and more accessibility, right? Like launch pads for NFT projects are going to enable smaller artists to have more exposure. I mean, if you just look at like, I don't know if this is going to address your question, but I'll just hoss my way through some rambles and see if it hits. But
just turn hoss into
I did.
a
I
verb.
just verbed hoss. I couldn't help myself. I just love him so much.
Oh
He
my
needs to be
god,
a verb.
yeah.
Yeah. So if you look at like Spotify and how it revolutionized I mean, they weren't the first ones to do it, but it was like a really big movement for music artists to get more exposure. Spotify created a platform for smaller artists to generate a community. And
For sure.
now I think we're going to see a lot of the same kind of things with Web3 tooling. When we start getting better community platforms and better launch pads, it's going to level the playing field. I mean, it kind of goes back to that whole like power distribution thing I was talking about before. If everyone has equal access to a platform, then it distributes the power a little bit more. So like bigger names aren't going to be quite as significant, But at the stage that we're in right now, it's like big names still really carry a lot of clout, and that's never fully going to go away, I don't think. I mean, we're just like by human nature, we're kind of drawn to that
It is
like
life.
idolization of
It is life.
yeah, for sure. So I do think that people have to be really careful right now about following names, because as we saw in the last big bull market, right? Like there was all kinds of celebrities coming on, signing on to support things that they didn't even really fully understand, and it created a lot of frustration for community members who felt like they were misled by these celebrities. So it's like a catch-22, I guess. We do need like big name people to support things, but we also need them to do it in a way that actually reflects the true values of the technology that's being built. We can't just let them like kind of mindlessly shill stuff that they don't understand. So I'm hoping that we're going to see some like bigger name people do something innovative, like something really truly innovative with this technology, not just like sign on as like, oh, hey, yeah, have you used your crypto.com credit card or whatever? But like, I want to see a big famous artist who does something with an airdrop that nobody's ever seen before. I think that's going to, be a big unlock.
Yeah. I would like to say, what a fabulous space this is. Rather than just having people up here, as I said before, I'm not here to shill anything, but it's just people that want to educate in the space, and I think that's absolutely amazing. Yeah, good on you guys, Sits and Triggs. That is 100%. That is 100% brilliant, and yeah, I would definitely. I definitely go in the back of what Triggs says. Don't just follow the new big trend. If the new big trend, if you're standing in a schoolyard and 12 of the people created a group, and then they were to come towards you, would you buy into that group? Is pretty much how I see it. That's how I explained it to my wife. We kind of both do like NFTs together. But if there's one person on the other side of the playground, and they're grouping up together, and they're creating this big like club, but it looks really good actually. Actually, it's really good in the corner of the playground, and they're building a little hut around it. And actually, oh no, they're allowing some people in now. Yeah, probably quite good. Just be aware. Been in this space a long time. Triggs obviously has. Thanks for listening to me.
Hey man, it's been really great listening to you. It genuinely has, and I appreciate that you see what we're trying to do here. Obviously, this is Into the Cyber State, which is a podcast or a space, whatever you want to call it, that is hosted by Galactica.com, our protocol. But we don't like to shill. There's no point in us shilling right now. This is truly an educational space. It's designed to provide value to the listener. I find that spaces that just like are on a constant shill fest tend to be completely unengaging and have nothing to keep me in the space. So I think I'm really glad that you've recognized that, and I appreciate you coming here. So if you want to come back, you're more than welcome. We run every Wednesday at 9 o'clock UTC. So if you want to come back, you are more than welcome to. And everyone who's in the listener panel, Ape's been providing some value up here, so give him a follow. Okay. Okay, everyone. I think I actually need to be. I'm coming up to my hard stop, unfortunately, because I am actually really enjoying the conversation. So, as I say, you have been listening to Into the Cyber State. We would really appreciate it if you guys could give us a like and a retweet.
Are you Oxford? You're Oxford.
Oxford? No, I'm not Oxford. Not at all. No, I'm from the Art of White.
Oh, Right. Okay. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. I'm basically born on a farm, back into
Yeah.
nowhere.
My nanny is from the Isle of Wight.
Yeah, it's a nice place. Beautiful place. But I'm not there anymore, unfortunately. So I'm in the Netherlands now, doing my thing, doing the Web3 thing. I need more connections, you know. I can connect with people on beaches on the island, but unfortunately, it needs to be somewhere with connect with what do they call it? Networking opportunities. That's the one.
Right. Okay. I'll pass you through to Vermanchi. He's Netherlands. Used to be Bored Ape, but he's pretty cool. If that's okay.
Yeah, please, man, give me a DM. I'm always happy to meet with anyone who's interested in Web3, in autonomy, in freedom, in doing the right thing, trying to build stuff, make stuff that's cool, and don't broke people. That's who I'm interested in meeting. Okay, everyone. Again, I really appreciate everyone coming. In fact, I'm going to shout you all out because it's not a massive space right now, and I won't be able to shout people out when we get to the size of space that I expect to get to. So I just want to say thank you, guys. So I got Cool Crypto. I've got Arctic Use. Okay, you guys make your names way too difficult to pronounce. Articulate. I should have seen that. The Crypto Phil, Corium. You just got flames. You've got flame emojis in your name, dude. Shizk. That's what I can see. Marco Polo, Carl Woken, Johnny Blaze, Am Still Only X, Baby Key, Chill Vibes, Isaac, Sumakima, Abeza, Bibi, and you are stuck behind my mute everyone button, so I'm going to bring you up. Disclosure DAO. Nice to have you here. Thank you very much for coming, everyone. Please join us on the next space. Click on the tweet if you want to find out more about us. Follow us. Join us on Discord. I hope you have a great rest of your week, and we will see you next time on the next episode of Into the Cypher State. Thank you very much, everyone. I'll see you soon.